What's up, podcasters? I'm your host, Anthony, the Tech Guy. Today, we're going to map the process of setting up your first podcast in 15 steps or less. You ready to dive into it? Let's go. We're going to do that by using a funnel mapping system. And what we're going to do, we're going to first look at the core task that needs to be done before you're ready to launch your podcast. All right. So step number one, this is the first phase. You need to discover what it is that you want to talk about. Well, how do you go about that? Well, take it from this perspective. What do you have a passion for? What are you good at? What are you interested in? And make sure that you really enjoy what it is you're going to talk about. Now that you've determined that, you're ready to move on to step two. And that is formatting your podcast. What do we mean by formatting? You want to lay out pretty much an outline of what you're going to talk about, right? So you want about a 30-second intro, just giving an overview of what's going to be covered in your episode. Naturally, you want to have some introduction music. And then you want to talk about perhaps some of the latest breaking news on that particular topic. Then you can go into about a 5 or 10 minute discussion on some of the history on your topic. And then again, another 5 or 10 minutes talking about trending statistics about that topic. Now, you want to suggest next what your top picks are for the week or for the month. However frequent that you're going to be creating these broadcasts, you want to talk about what's new for that particular period of time. Okay. And then lastly, you want to summarize everything you've discussed in about 3 minutes and then end with a nice outro. Got it? Good. Step three, you want to choose your podcast name. Okay. You want to do the research, what we call keyword research, in a place called Podcatcher. Go to that website and do a keyword search to make sure that the name isn't already taken. All right? Do that for me. And one thing you'll also want to do, you'll want to claim your domain name, okay? Because you're going to want to create a website sometime in the future. It doesn't have to necessarily be at the release of your podcast, but you're definitely going to want to do that. All right. And I highly suggest namecheap.com. This is one of the places where I get many of my domain names, and they're very fast services, and you really won't have any problems. Second choice, GoDaddy.com. Who doesn't know GoDaddy, right? So check out those two sources. And if you want to buy the domain name from Namecheap, I'm going to go ahead and leave my referral link in the description here just to help further support my YouTube channel. And I can create more great videos just like this one here. All right, great. Let's get back to our discovery outline here. And we left off with choosing the name. And then next, you'll want to make any type of agreement or contract with your co-host, whoever's going to be supporting you with producing your podcast, okay? And then we're going to move into the category, the fifth one, number 5. You have to invest in your equipment. Hopefully you've already done that, right? That's why you're here, because you're ready to launch. But in case you do need equipment, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to take you to my favorite website, Amazon.com. You knew that was coming. All right. The link that I'm going to provide you is directly to this search query that lists all of the necessary equipment needed to successfully launch your podcast. I know. You can thank me later by clicking on the link and purchasing through that. And again, the proceeds go towards supporting this channel. All right. So we got that out the way. Next, you want to go and focus on your content. You must create engaging content for your podcast, right? Naturally, you've picked the topic that you have passion for, and you're going to write great copy. If you need help, you can always go seek out some freelance writers to assist you with that. And I'll provide another link to a place I suggest to have that done just momentarily. All right. So you're ready to now move on to the next step, which is recording the episode. Yes. Well, once that's recorded, now it's time to put together some nice graphics. And if you're skilled in art, congratulations. You've got 90% of the load already handled there. But if you're not, I suggest that you hire a freelance designer. And I'm going to suggest a site called Fiverr. This is a freelance site where you can get multiple freelance work done, from content writing to artwork, so on and so forth. But when you get here, naturally, I want you to click the link in the description. But when you get here, I want you to type in podcast art. Okay? Go here, and you want to pick a level 2. Okay? A level 2. Someone with a tremendous amount of experience, as you can tell here. Level 1 person are just pretty much entry level, right? And they've got a very few jobs under their belt. But you look at a level 2 person like this one here, Naim Salas. I would recommend someone like that. You're going to pay between $20 and $45 for that particular artwork. But there's one particular guy that I saw that really impressed me. This guy right here, X Digitals. Give this guy a try. He's got really good reviews. He's got a 4.9. But notice the amount of gigs he's done. He's done over 400 gigs. So this is the kind of person you're looking for, a level 2 professional that can get the work done for you. All right. So look through some of the work he's done and just make your selection based off what you see. All right. Let's go back to the map. We're mapping out how to launch your first podcast. Now, I want to thank you for joining me again. We're going to wrap this up. This is part 1. Okay. I failed to mention that. All right. How to launch my first podcast, part 1. Now that you've got your graphics art together, you've recorded your episode based on the content that you put together so wonderfully. Now you're ready to actually schedule that, right? You're ready to schedule the release date of your episode. So once you're comfortable with that, you're going to want to take care of the next phase of the project here. And that is to connect all of your social channels. Obviously, you want to connect your YouTube to your podcast. You want to connect your Facebook. You want to get all these things connected, right? Get them all connected here. And then all these other things are linked to taking care of your task list. All right. So we got all these things on. We're just checking our list here. That's what I love about this process map. Lets us know what we've done, what's next, just keeping everything organized. All right. So that's what I'm doing here. Beautiful. We're all set. Now let's move on to the next phase. And that is deciding whether you need to create a website now or later. Now, the reason why you want to create a website is because you want to brand yourself. And to brand yourself, you need to own your own property. When you submit your podcast to these directories, and I forgot to mention one other point here, very important, crucial point, is naming your podcast. We talked about going to Podcast Catcher to pick out a good name, but you want to pick out a searchable podcast name, okay? Don't start with Podcast how to whatever, or podcast music, because podcast is going to show up and you're going to get tons of competition. So you want to be very keyword specific. And I've got it laid out here where you want to use a qualifier keyword such as best, top rated, or affordable, whatever niche you're talking about. Enter your keyword plus that niche category, and you're going to come up with a powerful search friendly podcast name. Okay. That's going to really help you out. All right. So again, you need to determine whether you want to do your website, your brand site now or later. I suggest you go ahead and take care of that now. And part 2, we're going to talk about launching your brand site prior to your podcast. Okay. So anyway, you're ready to submit your podcast, and you're going to go here, and we talked about bypassing the website as an option. You can certainly do that. But if you don't, hey, by all means, create your website, get it connected to your podcast. That way you're branded all the way through. And you're really just taking care of the necessary things so that you don't have to backtrack in the future. All right. So next episode, part 2, I'm going to drill down and specifically map out the process for creating a fantastic website for your podcast. We're going to give you a short preview before you take off. We're going to hop right on over there using my hopper. Boom. Hope you're still with me. Part 2, how to launch your first podcast. And this one here is specifically going to focus on website creation. All right. So that's next in part 2 of the episode of creating your first podcast. I want to thank you again for joining me. And till next time, be safe and happy podcasting. Take care.